In light of Trump's remarks on the stockpile, reserve asset, and crypto policy, we will examine the current situation in the United States. I think we are living through a Bretton Woods moment in the United States. It's about cryptocurrencies, not gold this time, folks. Most individuals don't realize that history repeats itself. Remember, back in 1944, the United States carried out one of the biggest power moves in financial history. The US currency did really gain popularity. Gold supported it, and the world ran with it. But since then, the rules have changed. In addition to money and gold, the United States is now stockpiling digital assets. The next strategic reserve is Bitcoin, but the media diverts your focus. What do you know? The institutions, governments, and real players are positioning themselves appropriately. Are you? Is the query. Click the like button. Subscribe to the channel, please. And because this may be the biggest financial shift in years, let's examine everything. Right now, the price of Bitcoin is $88,756. At $2,175, Ethereum is lagging behind. Additionally, Aminolane and XRP are trading for $2.50 each. Overall, we are seeing some red from 2 to about 5%, but nothing really concerning. It's okay. The entire cryptocurrency market is worth a pathetic $2.88 trillion, which is basically news from yesterday. A short drop was followed by a partial recovery. I was distracted playing softball, but when I went back to the phone and computer, it seemed as if nothing had happened. I want to discuss this right now. I want to go into more detail about this part, but we talked about it briefly this morning. All cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin are included in the digital asset stockpile, as explained in this section. These will be your altcoins, and it's odd because there are two separate piles here. The Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, which is independent, is followed by the Strategic Digital Asset Stockpile, which will include your altcoins. There is a significant difference between the two. You can buy your Bitcoin reserve only if it is budget neutral, that is, won't affect the US budget, or taxpayers can more Bitcoin be added to the reserve through a purchase mechanism. Your assets and altcoins will not be purchased from the stockpile. Rather, they will be obtained in various ways. There are numerous different stockpiles, assets, reserve baskets, or whatever phrase we choose to call this. We have a Bitcoin reserve, which is made up of simply Bitcoin, in addition to other cryptocurrencies. What's going on here? I therefore ask, just because you say you won't sell, does that mean you won't trade as well? Because the US government has declared that none of these assets will ever be sold. We don't know the answer to this question. Only people who have access to this information do. Because selling and trading are two very different things. Selling is the act of offering something for sale, requesting a price, and getting that sum in return, whether it be $1 or $10 million, whereas trading is used as a bartering mechanism. Look, I said, approaching you, I have 20 Bitcoin in this reserve. I want to trade it to you to get gasoline, more gold, whatever it is. This is a very different scenario. Consequently, when we look into trade, has the United States ever traded any assets kept in reserves? Indeed, you are right, and this has happened multiple times in history. Let's talk about them. The first is gold. The US has bought and sold gold from its reserves in the past. Recall that the gold standard was terminated in 1971 when President Nixon eliminated the U.S. dollar's direct convertibility to gold. As a result, gold was no longer directly backed by currency, but rather became a tradable asset. What about the SPR, which was once known as the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? At that moment, they sold oil, and the Biden administration released millions of barrels in reaction to rising prices. The foreign reserve currencies are managed by the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve, which engage in continuous trading to maintain stable exchange rate. What about government-issued bonds and securities? The Federal Reserve purchases and sells in order to help manage inflation. Let's talk about land too. We've sold land before. I think we've traded for land as well. Gold that is exchanged or sold. Strategic oil reserves that are available for purchase, sale, or trade. We traded reserves of foreign currencies. We dealt in bonds and securities issued by US government. We traded land. Louisiana's purchase. Actually, it's more of an acquisition now. Maybe a military surplus. Do you see where I'm going with this, people? Is it clear to you where I intend to take this transaction? Here, we have only talked about selling, not trading. What about the Oregon Treaty of 1846, wherein British Canada and the United States traded claims for control of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho? What about the United States 1903 acquisition of a long-term lease for the Cuban naval base at Guantanamo Bay? Let's talk about Bretton Woods immediately. How could XRP have a Bretton Woods moment with this? And what does the term budget neutral strategy? They won't sell in order to preserve a budget neutral policy because doing so would affect taxpayers. Nonetheless, it signals the occurrence of transactions and slash or swaps. We must find out more about that. Will Bitcoin be traded at all? Will it be used as a bartering tool? If that is the case and the US borrows from China, then China has the authority to dump Bitcoin on the market. The United States would not want to see the value of an asset they own drop. Therefore, this would be nonsensical on their behalf. But why would the United States sell its Bitcoin assets if it never plans to? Will they use it for anything at all? Here, it is the more crucial query, and the response is in the affirmative. What are they going to do with it, though? If they would never sell the asset, why would it matter if its value rose? They will never make money from it. It is my belief that this will be used as a trade bartering opportunity with these free digital materials. They just renamed the account, took control, and confiscated everything they owned, including all of their Bitcoin. It is similar to opening a new bank account, but why would you retain an asset here if you would never use it? You wouldn't care about the price of that asset at that point, would you? Consequently, a new international monetary system was created by the 1944 Bretton Woods Treaty, which established a set exchange rate where other currencies were based on the US dollar, a fixed rate of gold supporting the dollar, and the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. Will there be a price fix for some of these cryptocurrencies soon? That's an interesting question, isn't it? What were the key features of Bretton Woods? The US dollar was consequently designated as a global reserve currency. Bitcoin, XRP, and Solana may be used as a pegged asset or trading opportunity, but I'm not saying that they will take the position of the dollar as the global reserve currency. Maybe a stated exchange rate. As a result, the World Bank and the IMF were established. We know what the IMF and World Bank think about cryptocurrencies, don't we? Here we talk about the executive order that was signed last night and XRP. The US government will be stockpiling XRP, which they will be receiving for free. However, I am not quite clear